This tractor half-axle in front of us broke due to the owner severely overloading it, causing the bolts to fail and the flange to crack. If this had happened elsewhere, the half-axle would have been sent to the scrapyard. However, a skilled Pakistani craftsman can restore this discarded half-axle to its original condition with a simple part replacement technique. How do they turn something worthless into something useful again? The answer lies in this small repair shop in Peshawar. This half-axle is the star of today's repair, and since the owner brought the replacement parts, it saved time in searching for parts. The craftsman mounted the half-axle on the lathe and removed the damaged flange using a lathe tool. Since the shop doesn't have advanced cutting equipment and the flange is quite thick, this process was slow. After about 10 minutes of precise cutting, the damaged flange was finally removed. At this point, the flange's external diameter didn't meet the standard for splicing. To ensure the replacement part fit perfectly, the craftsman used a threading tool to smooth out the external diameter. To guarantee precision and alignment, the craftsman also cut threads into the flange, as tightly threaded connections significantly enhance the stability of the joint. This step was relatively straightforward, with the focus being on controlling the tool's cutting speed to ensure smooth threading. After the threads were made, the craftsman used an oversized caliper to measure and determine where the replacement part needed to be cut. Having learned from the previous difficulty with the flange, the craftsman used an acetylene torch to cut the outer ring of the flange. While this method can leave rough edges, they left enough material to smooth the surface with a lathe later. Once the outer ring was cut, it was mounted on the lathe to smooth out the irregularities from the acetylene cutting. To avoid overcutting, the craftsman periodically used the caliper to measure the progress. After confirming the correct dimensions, the threading process began. The craftsman applied marking paint to the surface to clearly see the threading progress. Then, carefully controlled the depth and speed of the cutting tool to ensure the threads formed smoothly as planned. Once the threading was complete, the parts were ready to be assembled. Since the measurements were precise, the threads screwed together smoothly. After assembly, the seam was fully welded as the welding grooves had been prepared in advance. With expert welding skills, the craftsman securely fused the parts together. After welding, the protruding welds were ground down to make the surface smooth and clean. Thanks to the craftsman's skillful work, this once discarded half-axle is now fully repaired and looks as good as new. It could easily last another 10 years or more, and if any future problems arise, they would be the owner's responsibility.